Welcome to CaCo Talks, the weekly podcast where conversations about life, hot topics, mental health, and more take center stage. We are your hosts, Catelyn and Courtney Geiger.
Together, we explore thought-provoking discussions with an ambient vibe that inspires open and honest dialogue. So sit back, relax, and join us for some insightful conversation that will leave you feeling informed and inspired.
Welcome back to another episode of CaCo Talks. Tonight, we are sharing our thoughts, feelings, and concerns on friendship. So the first thing I think we want to talk about in today's episode is like what to do when we kind of reach maybe the end or at a point where I guess where you and a friend just kind of go separate ways. Have you ever experienced anything like that, Courtney?
Yeah, I mean, my earliest memory of that was when I was little, like very little. I had a really, really good friend in elementary school. We became friends in like second grade. And as we grew up and separated and were in different classes and did different, activities and stuff, the friendship obviously kind of disillusioned. Because we were like two peas in a pod, like as 8-year-old. But then as we grew up, I would say by the end of elementary school, we just weren't really not friends in the same way anymore. That makes sense. You know what I mean? So I've definitely had that happen. Yeah. And that was the earliest I can remember that happening. And it was sad at the time, especially being a child. I think you don't fully expect when you make friends, you think I'm going to be friends with this person forever. This feeling's going to go on forever. And time happens and things happen and you're like, well, it's not what it once was. And, we just kind of silently moved on. And it wasn't until later in high school that this person like came back to me and was like, I'm so sorry for being a B to you all these years. And I was like, I didn't even realize that they had that they thought they were being a B, because I was like, well, we had, separated. We had kind of moved on to different groups, years and years and years ago. So I wasn't considering you any kind of B. I was just, it is what it is, But I was like, you're forgiven. You can sleep easier at night.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, what did you perceive it as then?
I mean, to me, and granted, this person also introduced me to playing volleyball. So we had, regardless of the friendship, even though the friendship wasn't tight anymore, we were still teammates. So we knew each other. We saw each other regularly. We, exchanged nice conversations or whatever. And it was just not as tight as it was when we were little itty bitties,
Okay.
So I didn't think nothing had ever come around to me that this person had been talking bad about me or saying anything bad or saying anything wrong or whatever. But apparently something, whatever was on this person's conscience was what was eating at them, which I was like, that was really more an admission of, I didn't even ask. I was like, I mean, I wasn't perceiving that you were being anything. Now you're making me think maybe you were, but but I wasn't perceiving it as anything. So really, you told on yourself, because I would have kept going on in ignorance and blissful ignorance. There we go.
Honestly, yeah. Okay. So I guess like about like in that relationship in particular, would you continue that relationship like today? Or like?
Yeah, I think so much has transpired now, and we're adults now, that I think we would have an opportunity to be like, obviously I know about you, and like I witnessed sort of your upbringing, and you witnessed my upbringing in a lot of ways. So I know like there is a history there, but you could also, there's an opportunity now that we've been separated for so long now, and not just separated, like not being friends, but physically, like I haven't seen this person in years and years and years. So it's like, I would look at it as starting a new, fresh, page as adults now, like maybe we could connect as adults. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not looking for it, but I'm also not opposed to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I feel that. Okay.
The more like positive, supportive people you have in your life, I think the better. I'm never going to shut that down. So
for sure. I feel that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess like as for me,
I'll say, if you're listening, you can reach out. You got my Instagram.
That does not sound convincing. First thing.
Well, I mean, you can. I'm not opposed. I mean, I could too. Yeah, I definitely could too. It's just like I see even on the internet that we like move in different circles. So it's like, I don't know if we would ever come into contact for whatever reason ever again. But you never know. I mean, life will throw you in circumstances and situations. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be opposed to that. There's people that I've reached back out to from high school or whatever, and like we had continued relationships from then on. So I never shut that stuff down. That's what I'm saying. I didn't mean for that to sound like non-convincing.
Yeah. I do think like the thing with like being in high school is like it's very like in the moment of now like, oh well, I changed class, so I have to make new friends, so like it's like a culture of just like going from one person to the other, you know what I mean? Versus like in your adulthood, you really realize that you want genuine friends in whatever capacity it looks like, so it's more about the quality over the quantity. I mean, I had it right. Quality over the quantity. So it really could bring you guys together again. That would be cool. That would be cool to see, because I was just kind of like along for the ride, but where Courtney and I went pretty much, and so I was along for the ride in their friendship for a large portion of that. And then me and this person was in the same class the following year after you guys started being friends. So interesting enough, I was able to see that friendship evolve in a manner of ways. It was cool. I would support that for sure.
I'm in support of it too. I really don't have.
I do wonder, like, what was said. Like, that's what
I really don't know either. I don't know what was said. I don't know. All I can think is by that time we had been on the same volleyball team, and we had played. And there's just so many politics related to volleyball about like who's playing, who's this, who's that. You know what I mean? Like that already creates rifts among people. And eventually she ended up quitting the volleyball team before even our senior year. I went through with the whole thing, all 4 years of high school and middle school. And I'm not sure if it was that. All I could think of, if it was that, because by that point we had stopped hanging out outside of volleyball. So maybe it was that, or maybe it was whatever. But by that time I had really morphed into my own separate person, and I was not looking for that friendship at the time. You know what I'm saying? So our only interactions.
And I think you were in like a different environment as far as even schooling was concerned.
Exactly.
To a different crowd of people, and it not to say that you didn't focus on friendships, but like that really, because of the high demand of the classes that you were taking, it was like that's on the back burner.
It was hard. It was hard. I wasn't interacting with anybody really too much who was outside of that program, to be honest. So it wasn't just this like friend. It was everybody. I really didn't, even the other girls on the team, I didn't interact with them outside of volleyball. You know what I mean? In that way. And also for different reasons. But yeah, I didn't know what was being said. I really, honest to goodness, I still to this day have no idea what was being said. Whatever was being said was enough for this person to think that they were being a bitch. So whatever it was, that really was guilty conscience, because I'm telling you, I had no clue. I still don't have a clue.
That's interesting. Okay, well, I guess we'll never know. Maybe we will. I mean, part of me like wants to know because I just want to be nosy, but the other part is just like, what is
maybe it doesn't matter.
Bring to you?
Then also maybe it doesn't matter, and it might be just what it is, like petty high school stuff. It's like probably
and it doesn't change anything. Like if you guys are going to continue, you're starting over from now, you know what I mean. So to bring something like that into the picture is just like, for what? Like, other than being nosy, Oh
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm glad that in that moment that I had enough foresight to say, well, you're forgiven.
Yeah.
And not just be like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And because I could have easily made that a more dramatic situation than what it was. And I decided in that moment, mainly because I just didn't know, I was like, sure, you're forgiven. Like, there's nothing else to it, and I was like, you move in your circle, I move in mine. And I knew enough at that time to know that. And, and I was really happy about becoming the person that I was becoming at the time. So I wasn't looking for anything, and I wasn't looking for anyone to really, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking, I hate to say this, but I wasn't looking for friends. I wasn't. Yeah. And I wasn't looking for people to try to like reach out to me even, you know what I mean? So,
and I think that was a lot to do with the situation. Like I said, you were in a different circle, very small circle of people who were
and I
doing the
had
same
friends in
program
that
that you were doing.
circle.
Yeah.
So, and that was an even bigger circle than I had previously.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really, I don't know. I think because from the outside looking in, when people who aren't in that group, it looks like, oh, well, you just hang out by yourself or you just hang out. But I'm like, in these classes, we're a very tight knit group. And in this circle, we're a very tight knit group. We don't like,
You
not
didn't
that you
really have a
can't
choice,
leave.
though.
No, we did. It's not that we didn't have a choice, but I actually ended up liking the people.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll share my story of a past friend that you just kind of like let go. So I was friends with this person for a very, very long time through. I think it started in elementary school. I'm pretty like for fact it started in elementary school, but I just don't remember like what grade or anything like that. Started in elementary school, went through middle school and high school, and in high school it came to an end because I was making something that really had nothing to do with me about me. And that's pretty much where our relationship just kind of like dissolved, like just by like separation. I do think like other factors where we were just kind of like figuring ourselves out and we were hanging with different crowds and we were expressing ourselves differently. But that was kind of the extent of that friendship and that friendship dissolving. I don't, and I guess I'll answer the question that I asked you. Like, I don't really guess I don't know. I feel like me and that person are just in very different spots in our life. So I don't necessarily like wish for us to necessarily be friends again, but I do wish to apologize to this person for how I acted in high school because it was just very, very like immature, I guess, and not even I guess, very immature,
Villain
very
origin story.
selfish. Yes, pretty much. It was just very like it wasn't my place to react. It wasn't my place to have a comment. It wasn't my place to impose my feelings on somebody else when they are going through something that could even put them in a spot of feeling uncomfortable already. And I definitely did that. And I mean, now looking back, it makes sense why the person didn't tell me what they were trying to tell me in the first place. So basically, it was like they were just kind of like somebody else told me about this person, and it's like I almost like outed them, if you will. And so I mean that's already traumatizing, you know. So it is just like super unfortunate, and I won't do like a whole like apology letter on here, but I do apologize to you if you know who you are, and if you want to talk about it some more, I'm happy to talk about it. But I like I said, I do want to apologize because that was just looking back and the person I am today, I'm highly disappointed in who I was at that time and doing what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? So I do apologize to that person. But like I said, I don't think I would, I just think we're in very different places in our lives. And me and this person have like briefly reached out to each other before recently, and it just wasn't, I mean, obviously it's not going to be the same, but it just wasn't the friendship that we had, you know? So
Yeah.
that's that. And I respect that. That doesn't, like, obviously this is not an apology to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I want you back in my life, or I have to be in your life. It's more of like an apology. So if there's anything holding you back, like, I hope that sets you free because it definitely helps me set that, that poor decision free for me. So.
Well, that's because you can recognize that and say that behavior was wrong, was bad, that I should have behaved differently. You know, a lot of people lack self-awareness and won't even say that.
Yes, and it really like more than it like, I mean, obviously I don't know how it affects the other person, but it really does you a solid to just kind of like express your wrong. Like it puts you in a better place going forward. It helps you be a better friend. It helps you to, you know, hold yourself to a higher standard. Because I can promise you, I would never repeat that as a friend. Like never repeat that as a friend. That was just, to me, that's just a terrible friend. So.
That's true.
But yeah, self-awareness is key. You got to do it. And
Well,
even not even self-awareness, but like just reflecting on the decisions and things that you did or did not make.
I think it's good that you like have at least reflected on that specific relationship, because I think it's easy to forget friends that you once had and how it ended. But then you reflect on those times and you're like, man, how could I have moved differently? What could I have done differently?
For sure.
And then realizing what your behavior would have, how your behavior would have affected somebody else. You know?
Yeah.
For sure.
Which at that point, I just didn't have that. And I don't know if I think part of it was I just didn't care, to be honest.
Yeah. Sometimes you do just lack the
was
skills.
Yeah, but I think I was like just going through my own trauma, so I was just so consumed by that and what that looked like and figuring out that dynamic about myself that I could not for the life of me think about trauma outside of myself. And so then you end up traumatizing somebody, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know for a fact if it was traumatizing to that person or not. But I do think that, like, I can see how it could be.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like most of my friendships, I've always been the one who was dumped.
You think so?
I rarely do the dumping.
I feel like
okay, one time I dumped.
I feel like most of the time it just like fades, like just like circumstance.
Usually it fades. Mine always ends up in some sort of rupture, some sort of like, this is cut from here on out. Like it starts to fade. Okay, maybe I'm thinking about one
Most
instance
things
where it just
like
ruptured.
fade. Like that, I would say that's probably the one and only that just like ruptured. But everything else has just been like situational, environmental fading. Even in like college, just like, well, I guess there was one that was a rupture in college. There was one in college that ruptured. I don't even call that a friendship. That was a roommate.
Circumstantial situation.
It was, yeah. Because like, I mean, I think it worked out for the both of us while it worked out. But the second that it became an inconvenience for that person, then they were like wanted to show their fucking ass. So it was like, no, thank you. I'm glad I'm out. Mind you, I was like covering bills and stuff for everybody. Like, nah.
I get that.
Yeah, no, that's the negative, babe.
You know my roommate horror stories. Can't stand.
Honey, we gotta do an episode on that. Roommates, baby.
alone.
Yeah, right now. Horror story. Roommate horrors.
Horror stories. Yes. I've had 3 roommate problems situations. I've only ever done well living alone. And I had one college roommate who was fantastic. Love her.
I think I've had 3 roommate situations that were like, nah, bro. Oh, wait, okay, let me think. So when I first moved in college, and then one of the people in my apartment, the other person in my apartment, 3. Yep.
Yeah, I've had 3 roommate horror stories.
Yeah. That's not normal. Ugh,
2 of them were because I didn't communicate clearly. The other one, I was literally a third party just witnessing absolute madness.
Yeah. I think, what would I attribute? One was just nasty. One was just trifling now. Okay. And then the other one was they didn't want to communicate. And so it was a problem because they didn't feel like they had to communicate. And then the other person basically just wanted me to stay because it was an inconvenience for me to move out and they didn't have a replacement. But I told them we went to go look at another apartment together, and I was like, hey, I'm interested in moving out because I just like want to move out and I want like a better space. And so I told her that then when she's like, I think we should just stay here for like affordability reasons. I was like, okay, cool. Like I don't mind staying here. I am finishing out the rest of the year. So I finished out the rest of the year with this person, which was just that fall semester. And then I moved out. Mind you, before she went on Christmas break, I was like, hey, I'm going to be moving out. Like I can't afford to stay here anymore because I had some other financial issues that I absolutely had to take care of. And I had to get a car because my car wasn't working anymore. So it was like, there was no way I could pay rent. And not necessarily my rent, but like cover all the things I had to cover because a lot of things were in my name. So there was no way I could cover the things I needed. They would be responsible for and take care of the things I needed to do. Mind you, like waiting around for them to pay me back and things like that, it just was not going to work. So that was that situation. So I mean, I obviously I take full responsibility in all of those, but at the same time, some of those just were just a lack of communication and I think white privilege of just like, oh, well, you should, because it's an inconvenience to me. Like, babes, as a Black person, you can't, like, you have to make decisions for yourself. Like, I don't have mom and dad to come and pay my way like you do because you are not doing great in your classes. Like, if I fail, I fail. And if a bill comes, I have to pay it. I don't have mom and dad to come save the day like you do. You can stay here and not work and be fine. I cannot do that. So it's just like ridiculous, really. We're going to do an episode on roommates because that's a story to tell.
Oh, yeah.
It's a story to tell.
I got a crazy roommate story.
You got plenty. Your roommates have always been.
Both my bad roommates were in college. Well, those weren't the worst ones. The worst ones were post-college. Nothing's worse than the post-college one. Nothing is beating that.
When I say the college was prepared you, yes. But nothing beats them two, them members.
Demons.
Honestly.
Actual demons.
Honestly. For real.
Yeah, that was... that taught me so much. And, ooh, Jesus. Ooh, Lord, I don't even want to relive it.
I feel that.
But yeah, okay, back to friendships. We'll do another episode on roommates because we got stories for sure.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. So I guess a good question would be like, what's a positive friendship that you've seen in maybe our lives or in your current life, or just like what's a positive relationship that you saw as far as friendship is concerned?
Yeah, so I mean, we both know this because this person practically was like another hand in raising us. I think the most positive friendship we witnessed was definitely my mother's friendship with her like best friend for like 10 plus years.
Yeah, it was a while.
A long time. I mean, we met her when we were like 5 or 6 years old. So she practically, I mean, she really did have a hand in raising us,
Yeah, I think we met her when we were in first grade. So we're probably like 6 or 7. 7 or 8.
Yeah, we were little. We were itty bitties. Yeah, we were very tiny. So, and then, when her child came along, then we were already like teenagers. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that friendship was so nice to witness because it showed really what women supporting women looks like. Obviously, the friendship eventually dissolved, and then it became not supporting women. But that's another episode. But
for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think for the time when it was really, especially when we were like preteens to teenagers, it was a very supportive, I got your back, you got mine. And, when men faltered in their lives, they were there to pick up the pieces, frankly, for each other. And so I think we don't put enough stock in platonic female relationships because those are often the relationships that are stronger, more reliable than sometimes even your romantic relationships are in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And we witness that from both ends. So yeah, I mean, I think that's formed my concept of what friendship can look like for women. What platonic relationships can look like, and what it means to really truly be connected and supportive of somebody unconditionally. Which I think is good for children to witness.
No, I definitely think so. Like, I'm very appreciative for mom and that person coming in. Mom, I guess, like allowing that person to come into our life and be a positive impact on us for that period in time, right? Because she was like another mom to us. So if we needed something, we didn't hesitate to be like, hey, let's call X, Y, and Z, because we knew that person could be a support. And that is not even just like financially. We're talking about like practice, taking us back and forth to practice. We're talking about as far as like graduation is concerned and support things like that. So whenever we needed anything, we didn't hesitate to call because we didn't really have another, we didn't have anyone else to call, that was our support system because mom had a great friendship with this person. So, I mean, it was really, 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 really beautiful to see. And I definitely am open to the idea of hopefully having a relationship that mimics the certain aspects of that relationship, because it was really good and influential and positive on our lives. As well as I feel like it was good for mom mom too, because she definitely had someone that she could actually trust when she couldn't trust her own family for a lot of things. So
I just think too much we put a lot of stock in romantic heterosexual relationships as the end all be all supportive person that you always lean on and you rely on, and so many of the other relationships in our lives actually either fill in the gaps or take over when the romantic relationship falters or when that person cannot do XYZ. I think I
I
was
think the
hearing
same
it.
goes for like family too, because
And
sometimes
family, yeah.
your blood is not going to provide you the same
Sometimes
support
the
that someone
water,
that's
quote,
external.
yeah,
Oh,
sometimes the water is thicker than the blood.
oh,
If the blood is clotting and causing
yeah.
heart attacks, then yeah, I'm going with water. I
Yes,
think
we
it's
are
like,
not about to have a health issue because of you.
exactly. It's like sometimes your found family, and that's why we got to really stop this whole blood is thicker than water thing, because I feel like our found family a lot of times is more supportive of us in different ways than our blood relatives. It's amazing if your blood relatives are supportive of you because they know so much about you.
That's
But
not
I can't just
guaranteed.
assume, I can't just assume because you are blood that you are supportive. It's like when you go to, it's like your family is the same as when you go to work. We're just thrust in this room with these people who we didn't choose. So it doesn't mean we're going to gel. But
And then they
your
automatically
found,
feel like, because we're family, like it's an automatic that you have to be forgiving of them. You have to accept any behavior from them. And it's like, I personally have no tolerance for that. I just don't. So like I said, we just didn't have family for that reason.
And the found family is someone you choose to come into your life. So you're usually assessing their character, or you're assessing different things about them and deciding whether I'm going to spend time with them or not, which is, you can usually make a better judgment when you have the final call. You know what I mean? Like, it's great that you and I have the strength of the relationship that we have because we have decided to put work and effort into shifting that relationship and growing with it and changing. But that's because we decided to put effort into it. It could have just fizzled out and not existed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like we had to
I do
have
want to
this
do
level
like a
of
little shout
relationship.
out to this person. If you listen to this person that mom was really good friends with, and to mom too.
Yes.
Thank you guys for being such a great example of what a friendship looked like in the core of you guys' relationship. Obviously you guys dissolved, and that's okay too. I appreciate even seeing that aspect of it, because I personally don't think relationships are forever. I think they're for a reason in a season, and it was up for those two, honestly. So but back to like the core of the relationship and then the premise for them being friends, it was just really, 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 really beautiful to see them thrive and be successful women without degrading each other, without like using each other, genuinely want to be each other's friend and support system, and support each other in life and raising children and motherhood, and the children supporting each other and things like that. Obviously, we got to see that from like beginning of that person evolving and our mom evolving. We got to see the full circle because we were 6 or 7 when we met that person.
Yeah.
And we also got to see our mom evolve over the years versus like that person's child didn't get to see the full extent of that. But they truly benefited in it too, So I do want to say thank you to this person, because you did not have to do that when you had your own family who was supportive of whatever you were doing. You didn't need us to come along, but you came into our lives and you were that for us. So I do appreciate that in its entirety. And I will say, for that moment in time, I cannot thank you enough for being that for us when we didn't have anyone else. So thank you to that person. If you know who you are, you know who you are. And to our mom for allowing that person to be that role in our life when we did not have anybody else. Literally no one else. Not even our other parents.
Yeah.
Not our family. Not our aunts. Not our uncles. So we
No
literally
grandparents.
had no grandparents. We literally had no one else. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was her thought processes going into it, but it definitely became that. And, I mean, despite the way things devolved, I do think that, I don't want to take away from like the fact that like, I'm not going to say what went down, but things went down that I think that I've obviously made clear that I'm like not cool with. But I can still appreciate
part, like from that point on is questionable.
Is questionable, but I think that prior to, I'm like, give credit where credit is due, and I think there was, I think for the time that it was good, and when it got bad, it got bad. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I think. and I'd be lying. I couldn't say that this person was not a part of my life and upbringing and part of my formative years. They always will be, if not just like giving us life tips and like do this, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like I think they were instrumental, both her and our mother, in making sure that we understood what it meant to walk in the world as a woman, a young woman.
100%. Yeah.
And how to do that
100%.
and protect yourself and how to make sure, advocate for yourself, like and carry yourself. Like those are important
And do it with
things
class.
and do it with class. It's like, and you have to, the thing is, those aren't things that just come to you, especially as a young girl. Like, those are things that have to be modeled before you and have to be taught to you and required of you. Like that, there was an expectation among them that we would.
And I also think that person, because that person was really, really honest with us, very honest with us. I wonder if that's like helps us also be honest with ourselves and like each other too, because that when like don't get me wrong, like mom was always honest with us too, but like that person was honest with us in a very different fashion and like not like like she was like motherly, to us, but more of like an older, like just like an older sister more, I would say.
More like an aunt, and so, like, sister.
Yeah, like I would be just probably like an older sister more than an aunt because I don't even know what that looks like. I never had one, so no shade, no tea. But like she was just very honest and like upfront with us about like just life in general. Like her and her partner were just like, this is what it is if you don't do X, Y, and Z. So do it right. Period.
It was,
which I don't think mom could have told us because mom didn't experience that.
I also feel like we there was so much we learned by witnessing them go through their lives, and we were like, I don't think I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that.
100%.
Watch out for this. Like they lived their lives out in front of us as almost like this living cautionary tale in some ways. Not that they lived like these horrible lives or something, but they definitely were. They showed us the reality of what existed and how things could be, and it was not this romanticized fantasy of this or that. They didn't shield us really. Like we saw things and we saw the reality of it, and it was, if you're going to do this, know that this is the consequence of it or this comes with it, and so make this decision. Which I think was always coming from a place of concern from her, because it's when people try to sugarcoat things, they're not really concerned about your growth. They're trying to make it easier for you, and I think they were always very much like, this is the reality.
Yeah.
We were under no delusions about life.
No, at all. No.
And it made us strong too. Like going into high school or college, when we really were like on our own for the first time, it was like I didn't hesitate to make certain adult choices or decisions because I was like, first off, I already know what the consequences. Second off, I already know what I am and am not going to do. I know where my morals and ethics lie. So that wasn't a hard.
My boundaries
I wasn't swayed. I wasn't swayed easily into things. I knew what things were, and I wasn't going to do what I wasn't going to do. You know what I mean? So, and if I was going to do it, I knew what the consequences were, and I would do it. Still, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, like I cannot thank this person and even their extended family enough because they were very influential to who we are today. And the decision making, the honesty that we have with ourselves and one another, and different things like that, because we were held to that standard as children, honestly, you know.
Kids.
And so it neither one of them treated us like we were children. It was like these about to be adults. You're going to treat you accordingly. So, and I appreciate that 110%. Cannot thank our mother and this person and her extended family enough for being the support system that we did not have and showing us different things and ways to be, solid women and how to proceed in life with like class and dignity and boundaries and things like that, which I don't even know if they knew they were showing us those things, but that's what I took from it, So,
and it really was like they were just modeling it. I think they were modeling it, so it wasn't always just like a direct conversation. And sometimes we would have direct conversations about it. But I remember growing up so much, they turned everything they could into a teachable moment for us. You know what I mean? Like everything they could make a...
Yeah, for sure.
It was like, this might not be the best of circumstances, but what can we learn from this? How can we grow? And I think just taking that mentality and energy into everything, it's like, yes, you're going to come upon challenges, but you got enough wherewithal to get through it, and how can you grow from this? we rarely ever sat in pity parties. You know, we were always watching them go and do things and change and make things happen, and you know, do side jobs and hustle here, you know what I mean, like do these things, and it was always positive. And always had a way to move and shake and make things happen for myself given the circumstances. And I just think, you know, and we saw them, you know, buy houses, have children, get married, all these things. We saw them make these life improvements, make these life changes. And so like as a kid, it gets in your bone marrow of like, okay, well, I can achieve this, or I can do this, or whatever. It's like you really believe that you have what it takes to do it, because you've seen these women in your life work for it and change their circumstances, and you know, start out at the bottom and get to the top. Like when you witness those things, it puts a different drive on you. You don't really I don't sit around and wait. I'm like, how am I gonna make such and such happen? You know?
And then I think there's no excuse, because they didn't make any excuse for, oh, but I don't have this, or I didn't do this, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It makes it like any excuse is no excuse at all, really. That's no reason to not do what you need to do or figure out what you need to figure out. If I can continue doing what I need to do to make, you know, X, Y, and Z happen for me, then so can you. There is no excuse.
Absolutely. And that's so critical. I mean, I realize even though we didn't even grow up with like a lot of money, it was still like there are people who do have a lot of money who don't ever have that modeled for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were in such a unique situation where we were able to be raised by a single mother, and that the village collected around our mother to help raise us at different points in our life. You know what I mean? Like, and that village became much more useful than what any biological parent could have done, or any aunt could have done, or any grandparent could have done. Like that village is what morphed us into the kind of women that we are now. You know, like we're unafraid to go and try and do things. And I look at some people that I do know now, and I'm like, I don't know if, despite growing up in like the ideal circumstances, that like extra little oomph or drive or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't exist. And it's like, and it's because I don't think they saw anybody fight for anything, or make stuff happen, or figure it out, or make something out of nothing. And that's all we witnessed growing up. That's like in our bone marrow. You know what I mean? It's like we always say this: if one thing we're gonna do, we're gonna figure it out. Period.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean?
Don't have to worry about that.
You know, like we're gonna figure it out. You know,
every time,
whatever that looks like, and for whatever we're doing. But yeah, that's such an invaluable lesson, and to not only have somebody tell it to you, but model that is invaluable. And just because you live in a 2-parent household, or you have money, or even if you don't have money, that doesn't mean you are getting that kind of modeling before you. You know what I mean? And then, you know, something else I want to say too is it was just fun. It was really, it was fun. We were learning. We were having these things modeled for us, and we were tagging along. We were going to all of their, you know, work events. We were going on vacations with them. We were going on little excursions, and, you know, doing little day trips and whatnot. Like or going to events and festivals and things. Like we were doing things with them, and we were active, and they included us in it as children, you know? And
that's one thing they did was live their life. It was like
we were just in tow. We were just really in tow. Like,
and
we were just like, and we got to observe a lot. We really, I don't know there's not really a word for it. Like we weren't really like latchkey kids.
No.
Not in that way.
We're just kind of like, it was just kind of like, if I'm going somewhere, you guys are coming too. It's kind of like if we were all adults going out to hang out. That's kind of how it was. But we are just like modeling what they're showing us, is what I could explain it as. But it wasn't like a latchkey kid, because like obviously we would do things like separately and things like that. But for the most part, there was no.
They were unafraid to live their lives.
Yeah.
It was like, if the kids can come, the kids are coming. Yeah, it was like, if the kids are, if they can come,
we're
gonna
be adults. How are we doing it? Like, we're not about to cater to, or we're not going to treat them like kids just because they're kids with us, or like have a whole kid day just because there's kids with us. Like, no, we're going to live our life, and kids are just coming. We're not going to make exceptions for the entire 15 years that we were friends or something like that, just because kids are with us. Like, none of that. None of that. None of that. So,
None
and
of
I
that.
appreciate that, honestly, because like I
No,
said,
I appreciate it
when you are
too.
raising children, you are raising adults, not children to be children all their lives. You are raising future adults. And it's important for you to treat them as such while you're raising them so that they can go out and be adults. You can't raise an adult, you know, as a child and expect them to be this grand adult.
Yeah.
That's not how that works, you know? So.
And I also think too, like, to be honest, it was like, because they were always looking back, I think about it, like, and despite whatever mistakes they were making, I know that it was coming from a place of love. Like, now I'm thinking about just the care and concern they showed for the things we wanted to do, how, like, they listened to us. You know what I mean? Like, oh God, I don't know why I'm tearing up now, but like, that's such a beautiful thing to experience.
Did.
Is like,
Yeah.
they listened to us. Like, if we said we wanted to do this for our birthday, or if we wanted to go here, or like, or get our hair done or something, or we wanted this, like, they listened and they really took into consideration and did what they could, even if they couldn't afford everything. They did what they could to help us
Make
to
sure we
have
had a
an
pleasant
enjoyable day.
experience.
Yeah, and make sure we
Yeah.
had an enjoyable experience. And it's like, that is love, you know, at doing what you can, even if they couldn't like fly us to Paris or whatever, but they took the time to be concerned, and like, it really made up in so many ways for what we lack from our biological parent. You know what I mean? And I don't want to sound like this person stepped in and took over the parental role, because it wasn't that. Mom was
Oh,
still firmly
no. Yeah.
the parent,
Our
but
parent.
you know, she was every bit of the auntie, older sister that she could be to the fullest in that time, and you know, was happy to do it. At least it appeared as if she was happy to do it, you know, and she did it
And I
with
think it
love.
was
And that,
tenfold when she had her baby. You know what I mean? Like our mom
absolutely,
definitely stepped in and helped where she could with even her child and even us. Like we were happy to have that baby as like our little sister. And wherever we did, baby came too. Like you
yeah,
couldn't
she
tell
came
baby
too.
girl she
Yeah,
wasn't grown. You could not
yeah,
tell baby girl she was not grown. Because I mean, like I said, wherever, because at the time when she was born, we were teenagers, so you could not tell baby girl that she was not a teenager. Seriously. So, and all she had known for the most part, outside I think like daycare and things like that, was like being with the big girls, you know. So,
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's looking back, I realize at the time I don't think we took it for granted, but at the time you don't realize how special it is, because you think everybody's got this, and then you realize when you step away that everybody doesn't have
yeah,
that
that's true.
kind of. You know, we were blessed to be able to have someone step in as like this sort of not an alternate parent, but another force in
They're
our
just that
life.
extra support system.
Yeah, that you don't always. You know, even
Yeah,
picture
that's hard
perfect
to
families don't
find, I
always have
think.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard to find someone that you can trust to come into your family and be that for your children. And I'm no parent, so like I can only imagine the complexity to that. But I do think outside of even her impact on us, the friendship itself was just really beautiful. I think in the beginning,
Yeah.
extremely, extremely beautiful in the sense of that there's a support for each other. They're willing to literally do anything for each other almost.
Definition ride or die. I mean, I
Oh,
when I
for
think about
sure.
ride or die,
Yeah, yeah.
they were riding and dying. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
for
that's
sure.
what they were doing. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying that like there's issues with ride or die, you know, in certain
yeah,
circumstances, but I
yeah.
think for them that really
But
is,
it's like
they
ride or
had
die in
this
the
like,
most genuine, purest form. Like I'm not talking about like
yeah,
we're gonna go like hurt somebody, but like if you
yeah,
needed me, I got you, and if you need me, I got you. Like
yeah. They were definitely the type of people if so and so called at 3 a.m., like they
yeah.
were picking up the phone, go figure out what's happening, that
Oh,
kind of thing.
exactly.
Like,
It was not even a
those kinds
hesitation.
of friends. It wasn't like no type of
Yeah.
hesitation. Like, that's where they were. That's what was
Mm-hmm.
happening.
And
And
part of me also feels like if that happened today, I don't think it would be an issue.
probably not. I mean,
I
even
really don't
probably
think
despite
so.
what happened.
Yeah, I really don't. Like I feel like if it really came down to it, I feel like it would be like there's nothing but a phone call.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and
I
I
mean, I don't
think
know the
like
dynamics
that's
now,
something to.
but
Yeah, I know, but I think even in the dissolution or of that relationship, to know that about someone, or you know, I guess you don't for sure know that, but to I think be able to trust what was there then, to
yeah,
come into now if you really needed somebody. That is the definition of a true friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, you may not be, experiencing each other right now and then or whatever. But, like, if you really need me, I got you. I really got you. So.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I mean, you got to think about, like, who would pick up the phone for you at 3 a.m. And, usually it's a very small group of people,
For sure.
I'm just glad that we were able to witness that and that we saw it in a non-romantic setting.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I think we put too much emphasis on thinking that this man or this woman is going to be our end all be all. And reality is, a lot of your support, you got to look to some of the other people to support you in your life too. Who's really going to pick up the phone and be there for you 3 o'clock in the morning? I mean, it's the old adage, men come and go, friends are forever. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that we put too much on non-platonic relationships in our lives, and it doesn't have to be that way, and that was clearly modeled for us, and unlike any other that we have seen, and for it to last so long, it didn't dissolve until we were in college.
Oh, girl, we were in college.
Towards the end of college for us.
Yeah.
So
it was a while. And we had seen that friendship from between the ages of 6 and like 8 is when it started.
Yeah.
Which I think they were co-workers before that, so they knew each other existed. So like it was like, outside of our scope of when it existed, the friendship was brewing,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and just to see somebody be so dedicated to our mother, even take us out of it, like she's still a dedicated person to our mother, was
and
really
then to us, like if you took our mother out of it, I feel like it would be. Obviously, like our mother is what brought us this person into our life, but I feel like she was just as good to us outside of our mom's friendship.
Mm-hmm. We were definitely like an extension of our mother, I think.
For sure,
it was so nice to like have them. They both were experiencing really love for each other, and it was great to witness our mother be loved by someone and have the other person feel loved by our mother in return.
Yeah.
And again, those were non-romantic love, which I think is the highest form of love, is actually non-romantic love.
I can see that. That's fair.
Because like think about what people call agape or Jesus's love is a non-romantic love. So I think the highest forms of love are non-romantic. And you can have romantic love for someone, but what really keeps you there is the non-romantic parts of it, is the actual connection, the support, the day in, day out. I like this person. I just want to, you know what I mean? So, and that stuff comes non-romantically, in my opinion. So, but yeah, that was a big friendship we witnessed in our life. Probably the friendship that we've witnessed in our lives, besides our smaller friendships that we've had here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to talk about sort of the friends that we see in our lives now and how we think they're going to, how we think they will last, contribute, what kind of vibe, energy we get from our friends that we have now.
So there is, so I have 2 friends that I have been friends with. One for like ever, since kindergarten. So we are still friends. And then I have another friend. We have been friends since high school. So really good friend again. And then I have another friend that I met when I moved due to a job that we worked together. I really, 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 really enjoy our friendship with her because she gives me that like life partner friendship that kind of mimics, I would say, the mom and her best friends, our previous best friend vibes. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
You're talking about the new friend, the new one in the city you moved to?
Yeah. So her name starts with a D.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So, okay, her. And so the reason why I would give her that is because she like holds me to a standard that I hold myself to, that I just like, not everybody does that. And she's so like genuine in her intent in doing that. But she just like holds herself to that standard, and obviously she's going to hold like me, for example, to that standard and things like that. So, and I think also too, like if I really needed her, she has come through like all the time. And if she needed me, I would always come through for her. You know what I mean? So, I'm excited to see where that friendship goes. And it's not one of those friendships like we have to talk every day or anything like that. I just like, we just check in frequently or whatever, maybe like every couple of weeks. And it's very just like, it's just like a breath of fresh air that people like that exist, because most of the time that's not what you're hearing and seeing and experiencing. So it really is a breath of fresh air. And then obviously I have my friends who are from high school and from elementary school. And like that, we would just always be friends, we'll just always be friends. And
those are like your like hometown buddies that you just like never really went away.
Yeah, and I think that the thing with their friendship is whenever we always get together, is always just a lot of fun. So I appreciate that in that respect. But the problem with that is that's how it was in high school. It's just like we haven't like crossed over into like the adult side of like being friends, and I'm okay with that, honestly. But it definitely is that. So yeah. What about you?
So I also recently made a friend since I moved that I think and hope just evolves into a lifelong friendship, or however long the season is. I can't say what it will or will not be. But I definitely could see this person just continuing to be a part of my life and me being a part of their life, and like growing and changing and talking. And usually our friendship revolves around like doing similar activities. Which is cool, but I've also gotten to know this person's family a little bit, and they've like welcomed me, especially since being out here solo. But I'm excited to definitely grow just personally, but also to have this person be a part of my growth and me be a part of their growth, and like wherever life decides to take them next. And I just think this person is the genuine person, has like welcomed me in even from the first couple times that I like met them. And it's really chill, and we have very similar like personalities and like honestly kind of quirks. So I love it.
We love a quirky queen, honey.
Well, we love a quirky queen. And like, and what's weird is like she reminds me so much of Catelyn, which is like odd.
That's funny.
Because I think she's just so very like almost like motherly, and I don't say motherly, but like sort of nurturing and really concerned about like the other, like making sure bringing happiness to other people is what brings this person, I think, happiness. And and which I have to be aware of, because I don't want to be like an energy vulture, because I'll just end up being in my own little like Tasmanian devil storm, and like and then I'm like I forget that
I was literally about to say that you gotta check on your maternal friends too, because they need someone to do that for them sometimes.
They need and I don't want to be. I'm trying to be very, very aware of that, because I just don't want to like. I mean, I know me enough to know that I don't mean anything by it. I just don't want any other people to like assume that I'm just like energy sucking. Like I want to be energy giving as well, because I think that's equally as important.
But I think the good thing about it seems like you and this person is that this person and you have a lot of similar, maybe even interest, and so that can be the place where you're also show interest into them, because you're just having a mutual conversation about something that you both enjoy. So that's a good thing, since it can kind of deter you from energy sucking, because it's like, well, how did you feel about playing this sport today? So
yeah, definitely. I try to make sure that I'm giving as much as possible, and I'm excited to like.
I'm excited for you, because I was a little concerned.
About what? Just me being out here?
Not necessarily you being out there, but like I know sometimes, like honestly, like we're twins, so the concept of doing life alone is just like far-fetched, right? But I do think sometimes like it is very different from doing it by yourself and then having a support system, especially physically there, because if something were to go, not maybe as planned, it's nothing like being able to call somebody and be like, hey, I just need someone to talk to that can understand where you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it, things like that, and all the different outcomes and inputs that you have to consider by being in a location like you are. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how much I would try to understand, I could really understand that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely good to like build that kind of community out here, and it really does make me like, okay, this, you question whether it was the right decision to come and do this, and I'm thinking like, it starts to feel like, okay, well, I've made this person, and it's not even like coming from like just a career path happening, you know what I mean? It's like other things in life are starting to set up that look like, okay, well, even if, I might not have the career I want right now, it's like, well, I have this other thing which is really beautiful and I want to explore that and continue to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it sort of keeps it keeps you going, keeps you out here, and which is might be God's way of just being like, this was right for you, or this is good for you. It might not look like what you want it to look like right now, but keep going. You know what I mean? It's like these incremental ways of things showing up that are positive in your life,
and supportive of what you're doing.
It's supportive, and I appreciate that someone, is supportive of me, even like more than she be hyping me up more than I hype myself up. But
I love that. We love a hype up queen too.
We love a hype up queen, right? And it's someone who like, I'm big on energy, and I've never gotten any sort of negative or even spiteful or like whatever energy from this person, and they don't have to like they don't have to give that. You know what I mean? And I think that I'm just excited to see where it goes because, like I said, people lose oxygen on your climb up, and this, I think this is somebody who's not going to lose oxygen, who's going to be able to breathe with me.
You can take on the climb,
You can take on the climb, which is beautiful. It's beautiful because you want people who are going to be able to ground you on your climb.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I want to be able to give that to them twofold. It's sort of, it's like, the most obvious example is Oprah and Gail, right? It's like Oprah and Gail are what, thick as thieves, 60 years later. And it's like Gail withstood the climb because Gail was not trying to breathe Oprah's air, and Oprah wasn't trying to breathe Gail's air. They were just like, go sis, like go, you know what I mean?
Even now, in their different periods of success, they're still go sis, and that didn't change the dynamic because one has or doesn't, or vice versa. So it really is beautiful to see.
It's just go sis, and I want to be able to support this person in that way, and I hope the other person is able to support me in that way too. So and it seems like I think we're definitely on the right track.
I love that. I'm really excited for you guys. I've never met this person, but I am team H.
Well, you kind of met this person.
Kind of, sort of. But I do get like a good vibe about it. Like I get a good vibe about it. So I'm happy for it. And if she's anything like me, that's all you got to say.
You already know.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't think, obviously I don't know her full enough to be like, oh, she's just like me. And I don't think that's good either. But I do see how you could benefit from someone that is more maternal, because sometimes you're just like, I think sometimes you still crave that. Sometimes you are, yeah, but I think sometimes you just crave that because you've always had a mom. If it wasn't our actual mom, you had me, or you had mom's ex-best friend. Like somebody was always in the picture being that for you. And so I think sometimes like just having someone that's a little bit more maternal, like gives that more maternal side. And like it's something as simple as a friendship can. Yeah, and that's what it's come down to, is just a support system. But it provides you what you need to continue,
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's I know because like it's not that I don't. I feel like there's times I could be maternal and I show up in different ways maternally, but because of what I do, it requires, I don't want to say an anti-maternal, but I have to sort of be like the leader or the force behind it, and kind of this like I have to like take charge of it. And I think it's nice sometimes to, like, when I do relax and I'm not doing that, that is nice that there are other people around who can kind of be like, who, I don't want to say take on more of a maternal role, but definitely take on this sort of like, you don't have to stress out role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
nice.
And I
I
think
need that
it's like
reminder
it's really,
sometimes.
and it is about that balance. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just need to offload a little bit, and so that's
And they give you the normal person perspective, which is great.
Mhm.
I love it. I love that this person is normal and a non-artist. I'm not joking. Like that's actually the
Okay.
biggest draw, because at times other artists, you're just like very swept up in your own. It's almost, I don't want to call it narcissism. It's not total narcissism, but you do get swept up in your own world. Let's say that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, but yeah, that's the friendship I think I'm looking forward to most. You want to round out by talking about who you would befriend, 5 people you would want to befriend, dead or alive.
Okay. I want to befriend dead or alive. I want to befriend Frank Ocean. I want to befriend Beyonce. I want to befriend Oprah and Gail. And I want to befriend I also want to befriend Cleo Soul. I like Cleo a good time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. I'm befriending Ava DuVernay. That just makes sense. I feel like we would vibe person to person.
Ava, you are convenient for the cause. That's what it sounds like.
But I also feel like we have the same indie aesthetic. Okay, we would get along perfectly, despite the fact that she's older. But she probably ended up being more like older sister, mom. Yeah, everybody ends up being a mom to me. I'm like, do I come off as a child? I guess so.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
That would be okay, so Ava. Yes. That's a yes. Okay, so Ava, of course. I'm gonna say Oprah too. I just feel like you can't go wrong with Oprah in your corner. I don't feel like you can ever go wrong with Oprah in your corner. But okay, then Oprah automatically comes with Gail, because like where they going without each other.
Honestly.
Beyonce.
Okay.
I feel like Beyonce and I have a similar drive. And damn, that's only 3. I guess I don't want to befriend them.
That's kind of hard.
Oh, what? Samara's so cute. I love her. I definitely want to befriend her because I just think she has an incredible talent. And I also think we have very similar personalities. We're both like very reserved people, I feel like. So definitely Sammy. Although I feel like I would be the big sister to Sammy.
Really? No.
Yeah. She's younger. That's wild. She's younger than me.
I can see that.
You don't think I would be a big sister? You're right.
No, I think you. I don't know if. I think if you were forced to be, you'll be a big sister. But I feel like you really enjoyed not having to be the bigger, like more maternal type. Like I feel like you enjoyed that.
Right. No, I do enjoy not being the maternal type. Yeah, you're right. Okay, well then I wouldn't be a big sister to Sammy.
Exactly.
But we can be friends.
But
yes, we can be friends.
I just can't see it.
I'd be like, let me show you the ropes. And she'd be like, what ropes?
Seriously. Listen, baby, I am true to this, not new to this, please. Let me show you the ropes, all right?
Seriously, right? Okay. And then, okay, so who would be my 4th? I don't even know if I have a 5th.
I'm really surprised you didn't say like Michael Jackson or like Whitney Houston.
Okay, maybe Whitney Houston. But I don't know, because I feel like Whitney Houston would get rowdy, and I'd be like, listen, we gotta sit down.
But that's when she's on that stuff.
Well, okay, maybe like young Whitney Houston, we'd probably be friends. You'd probably chill out. Before pre-drug addiction Whitney, sure, but when she's on that stuff, no.
Yeah, you can't be friends with nobody like that. You cannot be friends with nobody like that.
I'd be like, no, girl, we are not doing that. And that's what I think I'd be friends with. But there's a whole big wide world out there, so who knows? I might be friends with somebody else. Who knows? Those are just the ones I could think of right now. That's like the celeb edition. Where I really feel like if we really like had some dinner and sat down, we would all kiki have a good time. Oh, I think I put Kerry Washington on there.
Oh yeah, you love Kerry.
You think I would get along with Meg Thee Stallion? Possibly.
I feel like you probably could.
we would oddly enough, it would be an odd match, but we would have a good conversation, I think.
I was gonna say, like, she's a very educated woman, so I could see how, like, you could have a good friendship with her.
Yeah, I could.
Like, you could have some critically thinking. Yeah, she just decides to twerk. You know, that's cool and rap.
I'd be like, go ahead, girl, twerk. I'm gonna be over here.
Facts. You know, I'm gonna be over here, like, body crazy, big, wave it. Is not the words.
No,
I don't know. I don't listen to her.
It's popping playing beats because I ain't playing to be stuck with you.
Well, I don't know. I don't listen
you don't
to
listen Meg?
I know.
It's body yaddy 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 yaddy.
Oh God, not the stallion queen. Oh, we do not like a stallion queen.
Do you think would you be friends with Cardi B? I don't think I could be friends with Cardi B like that.
I don't think I could do that. But she is funny. She's good to laugh at every now and again. Not with.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, that's who I would be friends with. And then, of course, there's probably so many other down the list, I think. Excellent. Oh, you know what? I'm going to say this person because I only recently got into them. I think Vivica Fox would be a good person to hang out with, just as an auntie.
Really?
I started watching her.
She seems mean to me.
She seems mean. Like, that's the characters that she plays, but I don't think she actually is. I think she's just very real. And she's giving me auntie vibes.
Real mean could be the same thing.
Oh, because I watch her on this talk show called Cocktails with Queens, and she seems like she'd be a good person to be friends with.
Mm-hmm. You know who else I'll be friends with? Tamara Mowry. I love her.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not Tia.
Don't like Tamara. You don't like Tia?
I love Tamara. I don't really care for Tia. I would rather Tamara.
That's wild. Most people don't like Tamara and like Tia.
Interesting. I always hate to say that because they shouldn't be compared, but. You know, I'm a twin, and so I understand that. But I could be friends with Tamara. But she has a vineyard, like right up my alley.
Yeah, y'all would
homely, like naturey. Like I would love to hang out with Tamara. Tamara Mowry, if you want to hang out, hit me up, sis. I would love to do it.
I think I could see you hang out with her simply on the winery.
I think you would enjoy more of like Tia. Like I'm probably Tamara, you're probably Tia.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably right. Okay. Well, I'm glad that was fun. Come up with imaginary friendships that probably will never happen, but
probably exist. But
that's all right.
We love to see it. We love an imagination queen.
We love an imagination. I also love that all of our list was like all Black women.
Honestly, it gotta be.
Okay. Thanks for listening.
Well, thanks for listening, for everyone. We hope that you tune in next Friday to listen to another episode of CaCo Talks.
Bye, everybody. Stay friendly.
Stay black. Stay black. Bye, guys.